Hey, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Micah J, and today I'll be doing something a little differently. Today I'll be starting a new series called Why I Love ... where I'll be digging deeper than the usual into why I love a certain TV show or movie and giving my detailed reasons for my infatuation for that particular show or movie into several categories, which is why today I'll be discussing why I love the 1989 black comedy teen movie Heathers, directed by Michael Lehman. Now, if you were to ask me a movie that I regret not seeing sooner, it would definitely be Heathers, because I remember always hearing like how popular and how influential it is, but I never really had much interest watching it because I kind of just brushed it off as like some typical generic sugary chick flick. But then I watched it for the first time about 3, maybe 4 years back, and holy shit, I was so blown away for how dark yet how brilliant it is. And I remember saying to myself, like, why didn't I watch this sooner? This is fucking great. Although when Heathers was released in the United States in March 31st, 1989, movie audiences at the time weren't prepared for a film about 2 renegade teenagers who embark on a Bonnie and Clyde style adventure to get rid of their school's most popular students, as the film only grossed over $1 million at the box office that had a $3 million budget, making it a certified flop. However, through the influence of cable television and home video, Heathers would gain a massive cult following in the ensuing decades, while also shaping pop culture, as the film laid down the groundwork for future teen films and television shows to emulate its honest and merciless approach. For the past 35 years since its theatrical release, Heathers has become the most influential teen movie of all time. So without wasting any time, let's get straight to the video. Now, the 80s was packed with countless classic coming-of-age movies that still continue to shape pop culture to this very day. And when it comes to discussing the late, great John Hughes, he was the one who popularized the genre in that particular decade, making it a culturally significant cinematic movement. John Hughes was best known for writing, directing, and producing a handful of movies that either warmed our hearts or had us laughing till we cried. The 80s were graced with movies of his that is told of teen drama, family dynamics, the oddness of human behavior, and the absurdity of existence. 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off are all considered to be cult classics that still resonates with audience to this very day. Despite how great all 4 of those movies are, most of them usually had formulaic tropes and always usually led to happy endings that left the audiences satisfied. That was until Heathers came along, as it marked a humongous game changer for the teen genre forever. Heathers screenwriter Daniel Waters had envisioned the film as being like the antithesis of the sugary John Hughes teen films by presenting Heathers as a more cynical depiction of high school, imbued with dark satire, and more similar in style of the films directed by Stanley Kubrick, most specifically his 1964 black comedy Dr. Strangelove. The generic conflicts that defined the John Hughes teen films were replaced in Heathers with an assortment of dark and previously unexplored themes, from homophobia to suicide to murder, which are presented with a level of darkness, subtlety, and wit that doesn't seem possible before Heathers and hasn't been matched since. A year prior, following her meteoric rise to prominence when starring in Tim Burton's dark fantasy horror comedy Beetlejuice as Lydia Dietz, Winona Ryder took the role of the main protagonist in this black comedy as Veronica Sawyer, a teenage girl who's a part of the most popular clique at Westburg High School called the Heathers, which is comprised of Heather Duke, Heather McNamara, and Heather Chandler. Veronica takes issue with the Heathers' cruel behavior, most specifically Heather Chandler's tyranny, and as she grows tired of their antics, Veronica ultimately leaves the Heathers as she tries to rediscover herself by going back to her old life when she wasn't popular. But once she comes across a mysterious new kid named Jason Dean, best known as JD for short, her entire world gets turned upside down as she falls in love with JD, being drawn to his very charming yet very rebellious nature. It's pretty much a story about the character of Veronica breaking out into her own and truly embracing who she really is, as Winona Ryder perfectly embodied Veronica's wit, humor, and intelligence, and it'd be hard to imagine this film having the cult classic status it has had for decades without Winona Ryder's remarkable performance. After reading the script, Winona Ryder was dead set on landing the role of Veronica Sawyer, as she constantly begged Daniel Waters to give her a chance and even offering to work for free, but her agent was extremely against her doing the film, believing that it would ruin her career. Nonetheless, Winona eventually got the part and delivered an iconic performance that has since then become one of her most beloved roles of her career. Hell, even Winona Ryder herself has publicly stated that Heathers is her favorite movie that she's ever done, which to me speaks volumes. Coming off as a very devilish young Jack Nicholson, Christian Slater stars as the character of Jason Dean, aka JD, a rebel who immediately catches the eyes of Veronica, who can sense the unhappiness and uniqueness of the character of Veronica. As soon as they meet each other, they immediately become an inseparable couple. Initially, things seem to go very well for JD and Veronica, until Veronica eventually comes to realize that JD is a complete sociopath. Unlike most other teen films with great love stories, JD and Veronica really should not be together at all, as he serves as a terrible influence and brings her into his world of murder and violence. After coming to the realization of how dangerous JD is, Veronica does everything she can to distance herself away from JD. When she refuses to continue their relationship, JD blatantly threatens her life and devises a plan to blow up their school. Christian Slater's portrayal of JD is so captivating because even despite the character being clinically unhinged, it's so easy to forget that he's the villain of the movie because of the way he just brings so much charisma to the role. The one thing I absolutely adore about Heathers is that it's a movie that talks about having depressing feelings, negative thoughts, and admitting that mental health is something that many people deal with to this very day. Heathers accurately predicted the glamorization of teenage mental health problems, suicide in particular, and how teenage suicide is usually glorified by the media and ends up seeming like an attractive solution when in reality it really isn't. The sad thing is it still holds true to this day because whenever a teenager takes their own lives, it seems like the media is all about exploiting it rather than, just resolving it the way it should be, which is very sad, yet very accurate. In one particular scene where Veronica Sawyer prevents Heather McNamara from taking her own life by overdosing on some pills, she says,
"If you were happy every day of your life, you wouldn't be a human being, you'd be a game show host."
That isn't something that you ever hear from many characters from teen movies say, and that's very relatable as everyone will have tough days and rough periods in their lives. But at the end of the day, you always have to keep pushing forward and always do the best you can because that's all you ever can do in life. The permanent mark that Heathers left since its release back in 1989 can perhaps be best measured by imagining how the teen-oriented film and television genre would be today without the film's existence. It had a ripple effect on so many TV shows and movies that confront provocative teenage problems. Without Heathers, movies like Clueless, Jawbreaker, Cruel Intentions, and even Mean Girls might have not seen the light of day, at least in their current forms, which was clearly shaped by Heathers. Most of the characters in the 1999 cult classic Cruel Intentions truly lives up to its film's title, using their wealth and privilege to manipulate those around them in matters of love and sex for their own amusement. The plastics in Mean Girls are just as cutthroat and image-obsessed as Heathers, as they thoroughly enjoy gossiping and backstabbing each other. You can tell how Heathers have even inspired TV shows like Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, as both shows are a bit similar to each other, with Gossip Girl following a group of characters in the Upper East Side of New York as they destroy each other's reputations in order to preserve their own social status and desires. And with Pretty Little Liars, it's a series that's filled to the brim with drama that follows a group of 4 teenage girls. But what the show does well is that it mixes the outlandish with real-life issues that teenagers face with eating disorders and bullying. With all the evidence of this, Heathers helped the teen genre evolve into something meaner and more controversial and gives its humor a lot more bite.